Two. Hey, hi, hello. It's the Jesse LaSala Show, episode 69. My guest tonight is Mr. Max Binet. Max, how say you?
Good man.
Is there something troubling you, or are you completely satisfied with everything?
I'm living at my mama's house right now, and that's kind of a bummer sometimes, just because as a 30, well, I'll be 36 in a few months, but like you, it's a tough thing to go through. You feel me? Like
I,
it takes kind of a hit on your self confidence a little bit, and you question your place in the world as a man a little bit.
I'm in the same basket, brother, and you know, it's tough to see your parents decline in
Yeah,
front of your eyes.
yeah,
And I don't know if that's actually happening to you, but
yes, definitely. Yeah.
it's a hard pill to swallow. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's been immense. Um so yeah, man, I still feel like I'm in my first chapter of like having moved back from New Orleans and having been gone for, 12 plus years or so. And it takes a while to kind of get on your feet. It doesn't happen overnight unless you like have some like, career set up for you to come back home and jump right into. And I didn't have that. And so I've been like cooking and stuff before I can like get into audio, audio engineering, the which I went to school for. So it's like, you get older and you're like, I should use something with what I'm educated in and what it's, um, so I'm kind of getting to the point where, I need to do better for myself. And after so many years of just being like a musician, who's just pretty much fine with just barely getting by as long as you can just be who you are, it just gets to a point where it's not socially acceptable anymore, and like it maybe that has some effect on the way you view yourself and the changes you're willing to make. But like I personally don't want to be that same person anymore. And I think I spent like multiple lifetimes like having all the fucking youthful experiences that life has to offer. And it doesn't mean that I need to stop having fun or enjoying life. It just means that I need to start thinking in terms of like sustainability. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how much longer do you think the Earth is going to be around?
I I'm not really sure about that, but it sometimes
Over
sometimes
under 10 years.
I think over. I think over.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels like sometimes it feels like we're heading quicker into our sure demise. But a part of me feels like it won't happen in our lifetime because there's so much more money to be made off of us. Like, why would they just like you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not done making money off of us yet, man. You think they're only gonna like make money off of us for another decade and just like fly to their trillionaire planet or whatever? Nah, man. They're gonna
Well,
make money off of us as long as they can until the last dying day of Earth.
until AI takes all of the menial jobs
It's
and
happening
makes
already.
makes us irrelevant, and then we have what is it? Universal basic income, and it's just like stay home. We'll just send you a check every month. And it's like because the AI can do it better than you can, McDonald's worker, you know? And there's like in California, the minimum wage is $20. And like down here, I think it's like $9 if you're lucky.
I think it's still officially legally seven something like 750 in Louisiana. I
That
think
shit is
legally. And so that's why they can get away with paying so little because in a last ditched effort to like save their ass, they can always be like, yeah, but
right.
minimum wage is 750. And it doesn't matter if you've known them for 20 years and you call them on their bullshit. Like, what, it's the law, like the law. So like they're gonna use that, So yeah, man, it's horrible working down here in the service industry and other like adjacent jobs. I mean, I've been doing it for so long. I mean, it's and you're just a you're there. There's no like it's just dead end jobs. It's like there's no ultimate benefit to doing it other than just like kind of being able to like keep funding another day of being on the hamster wheel.
Yeah, and the turnover rate at all these jobs are just like, oh, here's our new hire. Oh, he's fired. Oh, here's a new hire. Oh, she's fired. And it's just like right when you start to train somebody to work the kitchen or work the bar or wait tables, it's like they hate the place and they leave or they force themselves to get fired. It's a really weird industry to be involved in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's mostly people who are not really trying to stick around for too long. Ultimately, what if they're younger? They have bigger plans, and if they're older, then like they're probably like guys like you and me are kind of just doing that until we find something better type of shit. And so I don't think that industry is like very giving to like sustainability like I was talking about.
Yeah. And it sucks because we're musicians, but there's not a lot of like avenues for that, especially living in South Louisiana where everybody either wants to hear country or a cover band, and anything beyond that is like, wait, y'all don't have lyrics? Wait, this is just a beat that goes on for 4 minutes? Like, what am I supposed to do? I want to talk to my friend. This is too loud. All right, we're gonna go outside. Like, that's
Yeah. I don't know. I think being a musician isn't what it used to be. I think it used to be a lot easier to like do the music thing and to make money off of it, um, and it's the people who really want to be doing it still are going to keep doing it, and the ones who are doing it, like there are people I know, like multiple like ex bandmates of mine who it's like they've kind of just like given up so
right,
they can go, it's and I understand why, but like they're either like going to law school or they don't want to like continue with the project unless it can be turned into a source of income.
right, right,
So,
right.
and I understand all those things
Or they
because
have kids or a wife and family.
yeah,
That's the main one that I've run into.
the main one. I mean, I try to personally avoid playing with people with kids. I hate to say, but I've always been very honest and straightforward with friends of mine who, were kicking around the idea of playing together who had kids. I'd be like, look, man, like, I'm kind of like a lifer, like I'm getting older and it's like and I don't have a wife and kids, nor do I think I may ever possibly do that whole thing. And
Right.
so like I'm looking for a level of dedication that someone with a family isn't going to be able to give to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's always like, "Oh, my daughter's soccer game is tomorrow. I can't practice, or like, oh, we're going
Well,
to have dinner with the grandparents tomorrow night. So, and I get
I've
it. It's just like it sucks that like so many great musicians have dropped out the race.
or it's like, oh, can't practice that day. It's like Labor Day.
No,
It's like, what the
that's
fuck?
bullshit.
Like, what? I don't give a. I didn't even know. I didn't even clock that it was going to be Labor Day. Like, who the? And I guess
Oh,
it's
Max, actually, I forgot. Today is Juneteenth.
it
Um,
is.
we can't do the podcast anymore. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I have to observe. And we're back. Um, I want to ask some very candid questions here. Are you
All
ready?
right. Sure.
Did you ever accidentally call one of your teacher's mom?
I don't. I don't. I don't think so. I wasn't like one of those kids. I was definitely a weird kid, but I wasn't one of the ones who did that or
Like
like
a
threw up in class or anything like that.
you never shit your pants, never had to get sent home for any of that sort of thing?
I passed out one time in eighth grade, or maybe it was seventh grade. It was in middle school. I was going to Scott Middle, and I passed out, and I had to go home, and that sucked. But no, I never called the teacher mom that I remember. I don't think so.
Yeah, I seem to remember like being in class and someone would say, "Hey, mom," and then they would like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I said," like, but it was just like a like Pavlovian response of like, this is someone you trust and like
I
maybe
didn't
they
trust
didn't.
those fucking teachers, bro.
Hey, some of them were gifts of God, and
I
some of
had a
them were fucking devils.
I
But
had I had a few cool teachers. I have a lot of friends who are teachers, so I shouldn't talk shit. Because those friends are like really good people, who I'm sure are very good teachers. One is actually a bandmate of mine, a current bandmate of mine, and she's actually the head of the English department at a local school. So there you go.
fucking right.
But I never trusted their ass back when I was in school.
Yeah, I taught or I still teach music lessons, and in New York I taught music lessons. I did after school, and at times I felt like a father figure to some of these kids because like some of their parents were celebrities and some of them were just like stupid rich, and I didn't feel like they had like a real connection with their parents. And then I did it down in Louisiana, and it was the exact same thing. It was like kids are kids, and if they're neglected, you can tell. And if you can be the one to like, tell them everything's gonna be okay and like, talk them through some daily drama or whatever it is, like, I think that's a gift. So I shout out to all the teachers out there, but the only thing is I make more money at a fucking dive bar than I do working for the Lafayette public school system.
I've heard bad things about it.
It's not great, man. It's not
There's
great.
there's not a whole lot of money to be made around here, unfortunately. I think it's probably one of the reasons I left to begin with, but here I am. So anyway, sorry to get sidetracked.
All right, when was the last time you smoked weed with one of your friend's parents?
Oh man,
And how weird was it?
it's generally never weird. Because I grew up like with a parent who was fairly open about his pot usage. So like probably when I was like living in New Orleans, like there was probably like just someone's parent out at the bar like kicking it, and I just like you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
pass something to them or whatever,
Right, right.
But I don't really kick it with people and their parents that often. So it may have been a while, but it was probably in New Orleans. I mean, most things happened in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So
Most things are probably happening right now in New Orleans, to be honest.
yeah, fair.
D- when was the last time you used the phrase "that's cap" or "no
I don't
cap"?
I think I've never said that's cap, but I've probably said no cap maybe like all of twice.
All right, so explain to the listeners what those two phrases even mean.
Like it means like I'm not kidding, basically. Like
Like, no
kidding,
joke.
I'm joking. Like I don't. It's like I get how like language has to kind of shift over time as it did from like our parents' generation to ours, and whatever. But like I just like I don't know. It sounds fucking stupid, man.
Well, yeah, it's all like I've kind of brought bet to my vernacular. Like, oh, bet.
Yeah.
But it used to be for show. Oh, for show, for show, for show. Oh, bet, bet, bet. Like,
It's funny. It's funny how a shortened version of "I bet" has
right.
become, which is like the whitest shit. Like I
I'll
bet,
I'll bet you.
I'll bet you, and now like bet. So I don't know. It's just like people remixing culture, which is cool.
Yeah.
I fuck with that.
I mean, look, we're old, but we're not that old. Um, have you ever fallen asleep at a party?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
But
Uh,
did you bounce back and like keep partying?
oh man. I want to say yes, but it's also gone south before too. And
Okay.
like I'm not like a chronic like falling asleep at the party type of guy, but I don't think it's really happened at a party as much as it's happened like I went the last time I was in New York, I was at like this grindcore festival
Hold
at
on, hold
this
on, hold on. Explain that. Explain that for the lames out there.
grindcore is just like really really fast like heavy music, it's just super fast and chaotic, and it's like an offshoot of like hardcore punk rock basically.
Okay. Are there people actually grinding on each other?
No, there are people moshing heavily and kind of like throwing trash cans around and like doing shit like that.
So head trauma. Okay, got you.
Possible head trauma. But I was just going through like a rough patch. I had just moved back to Lafayette, and I was kind of still in my New Orleans party mode, and a friend brought me up there just for like that for like my birthday basically, and I just like drank way too much, and just ended up like falling asleep in a chair, like very peacefully, in a way that wasn't like disturbing anyone, or I wasn't in the way, or
Right, you
make
weren't like vomiting or anything.
no, I wasn't making an ass out of myself. I just like needed a little nap. But it happens, I mean,
Yeah, man. Look, I go up to my fiance's. They have parties that start at 2 in the afternoon and then like wrap up at like 1 a.m.
yeah.
And they're all drinking all day, all night. And I'm like, dude, I can't fucking keep up with this. And there's food there, and I get like a little fucking food coma. I was like, I gotta go take a fucking nap, man. Like my family, when we get together, it's like 2, maybe 3 hours. These motherfuckers were just they were trying to take it too far. So, but you've never gotten a dick drawn on your face or anything like that.
Nah, nothing like no sort of like tropey type of shit like
No
that.
hazing or anything like that. Like
Nah, I didn't really hang around people like that growing up.
douchebags.
Uh,
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I was probably too young and I was hanging out with like an older crowd, but I do remember actually seeing someone dip their balls onto a passed out dude's face.
I would laugh, but
And
I
I
would
was at the time I was like, "Ha, that's funny," but then like maybe the next day I was like, "That was low key like weird."
yeah. Uh
Maybe like ninth grade, I think. Like what is this
well
what we're supposed to be doing? I don't know.
it's
What?
like the dude who did that to the other guy, like it's weird to think that he probably has like a wife and kids and like a career job now. You know what I'm saying? And he goes to church, so
Yeah, he
whatever.
definitely he got his yayas out in ninth grade. Have you ever seen one of your parents at work? Like you go in and they're working, they're on the clock.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, both my parents got divorced when I was pretty young, so um there were I had a lot of strange um s- I had a lot of strange kind of like situations of like being, you know, like there was no one to watch me, or like my grandparents weren't like super available for whatever reason or whatever, so I would just like be at work with one of my parents, and it's um
Take your kid to work day every day.
like it would a lot of times it'd be like in the summer, or like when my mom was a nurse when I was younger. She would, be working weird hours and stuff like that. No one to like take care of me. But yeah, like I've seen my parents work a ton for sure.
Yeah. Same here. I would have to like go watch my dad teach architecture and I would be in the background like drawing on the chalkboard, like distracting the entire class. Cause I would be like drawing like asses and putting hats on them. But yeah,
Ass hat is one of my favorite insults, like of all time.
you fucking asshat over here. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
What was the shadiest place you ever lived? We're talking roommates, like where you had to lock your own bedroom door because you were like, I don't know about this fucking guy.
Um, I don't. I lived in a place in Portland with like maybe like five other people, and it was like I guess technically it was like three stories because it had like a basement that someone lived in,
Right?
but like there was just like a lot of people, and my room was like super tiny, and I didn't know them very well, and it's not that it was shady as much as, like, I don't know, like sometimes they'd have just like random like homeless people on the couch and stuff. So yeah, that one was probably pretty shady, and like I got kicked out because I wasn't on the lease. So
Of course.
it's like, how are you gonna have a house with like fucking 10 people in it, and like and one of them isn't on the lease, so you kick them out, like
Dude,
whatever. That's just
th-
some Portland shit though. It's like an episode of Portlandia, you know what I'm saying?
it sounds to me like you weren't shady enough. You know what I'm saying?
Or who knows? I mean, I'm no angel, but
Do you remember the name of the kid in Home Alone?
Devin. Wait, that was the brother, right?
No, the kid that got left behind.
Macaulay Culkin. But like I don't remember his name
His
in
actual character name.
fuck.
Gun
Kevin.
last name?
I'll never remember that shit.
All right, you get half a point. Kevin McAllister.
Yeah, I would have never nah, would have
All
never
right.
known.
Do you remember him in also the movie where he dies from getting punked by some bees?
No.
Remember that?
No, I don't.
So there was like a girl and him and the girl like had a crush on each other and he was allergic to bees, right? And so they go out in the woods one day and they're like, being all flirty and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, they step on like a bee nest and they attack him and he dies. You don't remember that movie?
Nah, that's fucked up though.
You have to watch it tonight. It's called My Girl.
I don't
It
think I've
had,
even heard of that.
dude, all-time classic. All right.
Really?
Kevin
I'll take
McAllister. I don't know what his name was in that movie though. Okay, so I'm wondering, you don't really have like a gaming personality. Like you don't play many video games.
Nah, like the last the last I really like played games was like I guess um like my really late teens, I guess. Like I was playing maybe like Tony Hawk and just like GoldenEye and shit. But yeah,
Solid.
I think once I like started playing music, I just like lost interest, you know.
Yeah.
Um
I think video games have robbed me of many productive hours that I could have spent towards music, but at the same time, like, whenever like a band breaks up, like you kind of like lose interest in writing. I don't know. For me, when my longest running band broke up, I didn't even look at my fucking keyboard for, like a year. I didn't want to make any beats. I didn't want to write anything. I was totally uninvested.
I think that's normal for musicians, you know, after doing something one way for so long, like, you know, like, because I've definitely been that way, you know, I've like put down the guitar for extremely long periods of time where people were just like, fucking, is this even, they like, people kind of like old friends kind of like framing it as like, like I've lost my mind or something, like just
Right.
become this like crossover artist or something, like with trying to do electronic music or something. But like it's, like as an artist, like you have to try different things and like uh just because like you got attention for doing one thing or because you were successful at doing one thing doesn't mean that you have to do that one thing one way, like artists and musicians should be allowed to explore,
Yeah, and also take time off and then reapproach and maybe you find something new or you find a different voice of what you're trying to, like there's so many examples like the Beatles, for example, like help. I need somebody help. And then fucking Octopus's Garden. Like, you know, they did some acid in between there. You know? Like they had to have a little bit of growth. They had to find out what was important.
Yeah, and we've like ever since you and I have been born or like could even perceive of who the Beatles were, we already had their entire catalog to look at.
Right.
Like so like we weren't there for those years when like the Beatles like didn't have like any hits or like the Beatles started growing their hair out and beards and stuff and everyone thought they were losing their minds like that.
LSD.
Yeah, like that was like a whole entire chapter of time that happened that we weren't there for, and everyone we have the privilege of looking back on it like, you know what I'm saying, like this instant of time, like this the Beatles discography is this little thing you can just hold in your hand or look at like on a fucking screen, but like it's really this thing that like took a very long time, you know?
And if you think about it, it was actually a really short period amount of time. Like they were
Yeah.
done by the time they were 34, 35. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine having that whole career and being done like at 34, 35, and then
Well,
starting other projects separately?
like they were contractually obligated to like fulfill a certain amount of
Finish it
albums,
out.
and
Right, right.
so they just pumped it out, like I have friends and former bandmates and stuff who have been on bigger labels, and from what I understand it's like they're not making any money if you're taking a break to like fucking do some soul searching. So
Right,
they're
right.
just gonna like fucking keep you going. They don't give a shit. Like you signed the contract.
Yeah,
So
we know some people around here locally who are still dealing with that, I think.
indeed, indeed.
That's uh that's the devil's work.
It is, man. I've come to that conclusion many times myself for more reason than one, and it's like I don't know that I would ever like I think I may just be like, pardon the phrase, but like fucking DIY till I die cuz like I don't um I can't see like any amount of like short-term recognition or like fucking overnight popularity being worth like losing my ability to like pick and choose what I, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Um, like short term fucking gratification or long
Yeah.
term torture.
Yeah, I mean it's for me it's like I'm trying to like get my career going, and if I can't get that one going, then I'll do what I need to do to get something going that is substantial, and then I'll use that money to fund doing the music stuff. And it's like, if I have to like work X amount of time to like be able to afford going on tour, then that's what I'll do. But like I'm not gonna do it on the terms of like some fucking like I've done it for far too long, every single aspect of it damn near, if not every aspect of it, for some guy to like dangle a carrot in my fucking, in front of my face. So
Right.
I'm not, nah.
And from what I remember, you don't even like carrots.
I actually love carrots.
God damn
You're
it.
a fucking liar. Carrot juice is delicious. Have you ever had carrot juice, Jesse?
Yes, I have actually. I'm a carrot lover. I have the little baby ones, and also I get the multicolored ones,
Uh,
and I like
from
this.
what I've heard, there's no such thing as like in the wild as a baby carrot.
Right,
Apparently, it's
they're made up.
shaved down carrots.
Yeah, they're made up.
So I don't know.
Yeah, they're all like made for charcuterie boards, you know? Like, oh, here's a little palate cleanser. Here's a fucking orange made up carrot. Uh, what is your guilty pleasure?
Oh man. Um
Something you wouldn't be proud to say that you enjoy?
Ketamine. I mean, I also like I'll proudly own that because like I feel like it's done a lot of positive for me, but it's also, it's like with anything else that's fun, it can get away from you. So I've had those moments too, but I'm pretty good with catching myself when I'm like slipping up with like addictive things, and I've never like gone too far with anything or the other. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think substances, can pretty much fall into anyone's lap, and that can be their guilty pleasure.
Yeah. I mean it's and I have a lot of like just shit from like my childhood that upon moving back, like I was forced to kind of start processing, especially because as we talked about, like family slipping away and things like that. Like it forces you to kind of like process things that you may have swept under the emotional rug for some years just so you could like live your fucking life.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
It's coping mechanisms.
yeah, so that there's a lot of the time where like I need something to take the edge off, and uh, uh like unfortunately in Lafayette, like the most widely available thing is alcohol, and everyone fucking drinks, and it's not that hard to like run into someone like at a bar, and then like you're sitting there doing shots or whatever. So um and it's, I don't know, like life is tough down here and we have to cope some kind of way, so unfortunately that's most people's vice.
Yeah. And as a functioning alcoholic, you know, I it kind of numbs away reality a little bit, and kind of sucks because my liver's like, ah, cut it out. But like I said, the world's gonna end in like 10 years, so I'm not worried about it. When was the last time you wore sunglasses inside like I'm doing right now?
um I a few years ago, a couple years ago, um my real glasses broke and all I had was my sunglasses. And so for like I think maybe close to a week I had to wear sunglasses at all times. And one of those times was including during a gig I had to do, which I've never, ever, ever, ever worn sunglasses on stage. No disrespect to anyone who has,
I
but
have.
I personally have never worn sunglasses on stage. And so, like, it just felt weird for me. And I felt like I was looking like a tryhard in my pictures. Because it's me. Like, I'm not, that's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. And we're back with the Jesse LaSala show. Unfortunately, because I'm not paying Zoom enough money, they cut our conversation off early. So fuck you, Zoom. As you were saying about wearing glasses indoors, what is that I understand you don't like it. What do
I,
you think?
I, I
What do you
think there's like two reasons I don't like it. One is because my eyes are really, really bad. I have like stigmatisms in both eyes. I'm like at high risk for glaucoma. So I can't see super well, and like wearing sunglasses inside, like I'm bumping and shit. Like it's just not good. So yeah. And like it was like a it's like in my circle, at least, it was like a cliche, like a bad cliche.
Yeah,
In
it's
other,
a douche move.
I I don't think it is like in all circles, but like because I almost guarantee there's like musicians I admire who have done that, but like it was like a total personal like aesthetic like choice on my part to like not do that. And the one time I had to do it, I just felt weird. It felt
Yeah.
super. I don't know.
The first gig I played when I moved back to Lafayette, I hadn't played in like fucking 6 years. And for some reason, I just wanted to wear sunglasses. And I knew I was gonna look like a douchebag, but I did it anyway.
What about flip
And
flops?
I mean, it was just like a security blanket. Like I didn't have to see anybody. Like I don't know what it was. I needed like a little comfy blanket. Like like I didn't
But
want to.
what about flip flops?
No, not flip flops. No, sunglasses.
No, I'm okay, but I'm saying like, how do you feel about wearing flip flops or people wearing flip flops to the gig?
That's lazy. I mean, unless you're the bass player. No shade to bass players, but um, yeah, no, I don't think I've ever been in a band with somebody that wore flip flops. That's unless you're unless you're playing at festival and you're like from Cameroon and that's just like your thing. Like flip flops are not like. What if you have to run from something? Like I want to have at least some sneakers on.
For real, dude.
So the last gig you played, how fulfilling was it?
There were a lot of mixed feelings. Um, just given the context of it, it ended up being a one-time reunion show type of thing. Um, and that's not the first time that's happened. But well, I don't. Sometimes you intend for more of a reunion to happen, and you realize everyone kind of like realizes that you're not on the same page anymore,
Right,
or something happens along the way to signify that like maybe it's like not the best idea.
right.
So um, my last gig I played was sort of a byproduct of one of those situations, unfortunately. Um, and uh, and so there was a good turnout and like we got paid well and everything, but ultimately like it was just a lot of mixed feelings. So yeah.
My girl expressed to me maybe a couple years ago about how, because I would come home from practice and be like, this and this happened. And she broke it down to me like, it's like you're in a relationship with five dudes, but y'all aren't fucking. And like, it's really weird to be in a band, like just the concept of it, of like everybody knowing their role, everybody being on the same page about whatever direction you want to go in musically. It's just like the concept of being in a band is really weird, and it's really weird when it sustains, like fucking Aerosmith and, you know, even Steely Dan, like any of these bands that have just held it together for this long. And it's like, man, you have to like kill your ego a little bit and then also know when to, sort of insert your opinion, but also not like be too assertive, It's very bizarre.
Yeah. And like oftentimes unfortunately like a total democracy is like the absolute last most productive thing that could, you know what I'm saying,
Exactly.
like
Too
the
too much
Too
hemming and
many
hawing.
too many cooks in the fucking kitchen, bro. Like people that don't have the experience to be saying what they're saying or make trying to call the shots they're calling or whatever. And it's I don't know, man. I could bitch, but like you're gonna have some good experiences and some bad experiences no matter what you're fucking doing. And like I've been playing in bands for most of my life, so I've had a lot of both of those experiences, good and bad. And fuck, man, like I'm just like really, I feel just very blessed to be like in a situation right now that I feel really like good about, and like is like it feels like a very like positive and um just like everyone gets along and like is encouraging of each other and is there for each other and looks out for each other in a way that I haven't like really got out of a band in like a long time. And it just yeah, it just I don't know when it hits like that, like it's like you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
it's just it's a whole nother thing when it hits like that.
And also that shit is very rare,
It
because everybody wants to be, I mean, not me. I was never the one that was like trying to like run shit. I was just glad to be in a band, but inevitably there is someone who's trying to run shit. No, we're not going to play this song. Oh, why don't you play this differently on this part? And sometimes you need that, but also sometimes that dude sucks. And it's like, no, dude, like,
I mean, I've always been the main songwriter in most of my bands. I've only played in like a small handful of bands that wasn't the case. So, um, like fortunately I've never really had to like just endure someone's fucking whatever like someone's like whatever. But um I have had situations where it's like being that I am the one who kind of like does everything from like the songwriting, like coming up with riffs and bringing them to the practice, and then like booking shows and promoting and doing like Instagram stuff and making the flyer and doing all that stuff.
right.
Um, and then like there's one person who literally can't even remember their parts,
Yeah,
who
just
just
shows up.
has an opinion on every single thing.
Right.
And it's like that's a deal breaker, like like at this point for me at this age with do as like I can get a project off the ground in no time, like
Yeah.
if I just have some fucking cooperation.
Dude,
Like
you have an open invite to me and my buddy's band. You already know that.
dude, um that's really flattering. I keep telling you like I don't know theory, but like maybe I'll just get you to teach me theory.
I think you and my buddy would get along great because he doesn't know theory either, but we both know when the change comes, and we both like, I have like a jazz background and he has like psychedelic trippy guitar riffs, and so somehow it works. So I
Oh
think
yeah.
we need a third voice in there that would kind of like, you know,
Is
complete
it
the trilogy.
is it what you were doing at Green Room?
No, that's the other band.
Word.
Yeah, that's the one guy has a kid, one guy's engaged,
Yeah.
one guy has a 9 to 5. So it's like we have to kind of like get together when we can, and that's the situation I was talking about earlier. Is just like this is a hobby band. It's not like a passion project. It's like, we should really like add some more songs to our set. So, you know,
Yeah,
it's not like very creative.
I got you.
Kind of sucks, but everybody has their shit going on, and we getting old. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Ain't that
as
the truth, bruh?
when you're this old and you're not getting fucking paid to write music, or you're not just doing it because you fucking love it. Like when I get
Yeah.
off of work, I want to fucking take a shower, play some Madden, hang out with my girl, eat and sleep and fuck, but it's just like you don't have much time to just fucking, all right, I'm gonna sit at the keyboard for 3 hours like when I was 20, like, and just be like, oh, I'm figuring out all these different chords and da 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 da. I
See,
don't know.
I've remained mostly single throughout the years, so like I've had all the time in the world to do that shit, and I still just like stubbornly like like I've tried to learn some theory here and there, but like it doesn't stick, dude.
I'm
When I
telling
was,
you, it's a lot easier than you think. Trust me.
I believe you.
I could break it down for you, and cuz that's the best thing about being in this side band with my buddy is that he just has an ear for it. And then all I have to do, cuz he has riffs for days, and then I'll just figure out what key he's in, and then I'll write it down, and I'll be like, "What's the name of this song?" "Oh, okay." And I'll just write down what I'm doing, knowing that he's gonna be in this key. But he doesn't know what the fuck key it is, you know? So it's like trying to marry those two, like he's a great songwriter, but he doesn't know what notes he's playing.
Uh
But it
huh.
sounds good, you know?
Yeah.
Very bizarre, but
It's a lot of us out there, man.
I think so. I think I mean, if you put a piece of sheet music in front of me, it would take me a little while to fucking figure it out. I know how to read it, but I can't fucking sight read it and just be like, boom. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like I would have to be like, all right, so there's this no, like what key are we in? So I was always terrible at that. I learned by ear, and I think you and my buddy are along the same path, and there's something to say about that where you can just fucking feel when it's time to change to a new chord, or it's time to like drop out, or it's time to raise it up, like musicians just fucking know. And some people, they have all the theory in the world, but they're like robots.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, for sure. I had this talk with some of my more theory trained friends all the time, who assure me that like I'm not really missing much, you know.
Right.
Whereas like I think it'd be great to like go get a fucking gig sitting in playing guitar with people like just to like make some money. Like, that'd be, I would do that at this point in my life, but like, I can't really do that. Like, I would have to, like, I just, I don't have the chops.
Well, we'll figure that out off the air. I have more hard-hitting questions at this point.
All right.
What was your first job and how did you quit?
All right. So I'm pretty sure, okay, my first job was um, Italian Pie on Johnston. You remember that shit?
Never lasted.
It wasn't around for very long. But me and my mom would go there and get these like chicken salads, and they'd have this like sun-dried tomato dressing that was really fucking good. And like
Nice.
we would that was like me and my mom's thing. We would go get those, and like after a while of doing that, like I just like applied or something, and like that was my first job. Um and you said how did I quit?
I'm just assuming you quit.
Yeah, but it wasn't for like any good reason really. Like I was just young and stupid, and I actually quit and applied at like the sandwich shop next door, and like I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, dude.
Yeah.
Um yeah. It's just that type of shit that you do when you're young that makes no sense.
I think the shortest amount of time I ever spent at a job was raising canes. And I think, yeah, I showed up for the night shift. So it was like 10 p.m. to close or whatever. And they started me on fucking bread, like the fucking Texas toast. And I was like, motherfucker, like, this is after I had already been on grill at Ground Patty, like running shit. And I was just like, all right, let me give Cane's a fucking try. And they started me out on fucking Texas toast. And they were like, all right, so you rub a little butter on this side and you turn it and then you wait for, 30 seconds and I was like, yo, man, this is bullshit. And they were like, all right, so now you have to take the trash out. Do you know where the garbage is? I was like, yeah. And I just went out with the garbage, threw it
And
in,
left.
never went back in.
At least you took out the garbage.
I I thought that was a dignified move.
Did you replace the trash can liner before you left?
No, I didn't. I didn't. That's but also I never got paid from there, you
Okay.
know?
For that one day?
Yeah. Like I was probably there for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it. Let them have it.
And yet I still go back to Cane's, every month or so. Sometimes you gotta have that white boy chicken.
People love that shit, man.
What's your go-to meal